Hello, I am back.
And so am I.
Wait, aren't you supposed to do cars?
Yeah, I know, but I know you were here at Adishwar Auto and I thought you might need some help.
Well, I actually do need some help because this is the biggest motorcycling pavilion and they have so much on display. So thank you, Karan, for being here.
No problem. And now आपके Karan Varun आ गए हैं आपको Adishwar Auto stall का walk around देने. Let's get started.
Okay, starting things off, we are here at the Zontes corner and yes, you have seen a bunch of motorcycles already. So you have seen the ADV in two variants, you have seen the Street Fighter, but here at the Expo, two maxi scooters.
So we'll get started with this one. This is the Zontes 350D. It's not a proper maxi. It's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit more compact. So more for maxi urban use, not a full-on maxi. But it does use the same engine as the maxi.
Yeah, so this is the maxi. It's actually called the 350E, and this actually just has a lot of these things going on. So if you want to open the fuel cap, press a button. Open the seat, press a button. In fact, this is so maxi, and they're so confident with the brand that they've also given heated grips. Now, for these two maxi scooters, pricing is not announced yet. This is just an unveil. But maxi in the Zontes corner, we'll move on to the next one now.
The second spot we're at is now Moto Morini. There's nothing new from Moto Morini here at the stall, but I still think Moto Morini has some exciting bikes. The Escape, Varun's already done a video on it. I've also ridden it. I really like how it looks. I like how it sounds. There's also the CMezzo.
Yeah,
again,
that's one way of saying it, CMezzo. Yeah.
But we are planning to do a video on that, right?
That, yeah, and I actually quite like the Moto Morini. But nothing new at the Expo. This is just a display and a showcase for people who are attending the Expo. But Moto Morini done, Zontes done, we'll move on to the next one now. Okay, next up is Benelli. Now, most of you all know that Benelli has a very interesting portfolio. So on one hand, you have the Leoncino, the 502C, but on the other hand, you have the TRK. The TRK is in two variants. One is the road-going variant, one is the adventure variant. But just in terms of upcoming things, we don't know a lot from Benelli yet. Okay, next up is Benda. Now, this motorcycle right behind us is going to look familiar because this is available in India. It's called the 302C and it goes by the name Keeway. Now Keeway and Benda are in a partnership, and if any of these Benda motorcycles come to India, they're going to be renamed as Keeway. But what's new?
Now speaking of these Benda motorcycles, there's basically three cruisers that they've showcased here. Number one is the 700 LFC. C stands for cruiser. It's got a 4-cylinder engine, 680
Inline 4.
Inline 4.
Yeah.
And a big fat tire. Fat with a capital F-A-T. I don't understand the function of that big fat tire, but it does look cool. Then there is the LFS 700 in the back there. S stands for sport. It's a little bit more compact, should be easier to ride in urban situations, more our kind of motorcycle, but has the same engine as the LFC.
Right.
And what's the last one?
So that's inline 4. On my right is actually a 500cc V4. It's called the Dark Flag. And I think the interesting feature with the Dark Flag is the air suspension, which I think is really cool. But talking about these motorcycles, I think, you know, when you add in the cool factor, I think there's another word that comes to my mind.
I think it's almost conceptish.
That's right.
Like all of these bikes, in terms of their lighting elements, in terms of the features they have.
Just the way they look.
They look like concept bikes. Thankfully, they don't feel like concept bikes.
Yeah.
Because they are production ready.
So with that being done, we'll move on to Keeway. This way.
It's that way.
Keeway.
No way, man.
We are so bad at this, but next up is Keeway. Now, a lot of these products that you see here are already available in India. For example, you have the fully fed K300R, the naked version of it, the K300N. You also have the SR125, but in the same breath, there's something new more. There's something new.
Which is the SR250. It's the bigger brother to the SR125. It's got a 250cc engine, 16 horsepower, still at 120 kgs. It's a light, simple, fun motorcycle and my favorite one from this stall. I'm really looking forward to having some fun on it.
And let's not forget the scooters, the VST and the 60s at the very back. And I almost want to take a deep breath here because there's just so much more going on here. But what's next?
We're not done because we are going to QJ.
Motor.
QJ Motor. Now next up is QJ Motor. We have a lot of motorcycles to talk about with a lot of very confusing names.
Yeah.
So stick with us and we're going to start with this one. This is the SCR 125.
Right.
It's the smallest of the cruisers that they have. Looks like a very relaxed riding position, some bits of chrome, entry level cruiser.
Yep. But we'll move on to the next bit of cruisers. Behind me, that's the SRV 125, and you've already seen the bigger brother of the SRV, which is called as the SRV 300 at India Bike Week. And we have some more cruisers.
SRC 250 is the next one. This is a little more urban. Now the SRC 250 is not a full cruiser. It's not, you don't sit back and relax like that. It is a little more upright, so it should be easier to ride in the city and is a step up on the 125s.
Also, this is more retro, almost feels like a scrambler. It's not really that. It's still your everyday commuter / scrambler / cruiser, whatever you want to call it.
/ all in one.
Yeah, but there's also an elder brother, which is what we saw at India Bike Week as well. That's the SRC 500. Yeah, but I think we're done with the cruiser bits. Why don't we talk about the bits that I like, the sporty bits. So one of the products that we saw,
SRK.
yeah, that's it. That's the SRK 400, but there's also one SRK 700.
Yeah.
And there is something which is fully faired, which looks like a proper sport motorcycle. What is that?
SRK 400 RR. RR is race replica. It does look like a race replica.
And there is one motorcycle standing at the very back. It's called TRX 125. I'm a little surprised by the naming of that, because looking at the design language, it almost looks like the SRK only, but I don't know why it's called TRX. It's just...
As you can probably tell, we are by now super confused, mentally exhausted with all the names. SRC, SCR, SRK, QJ,
LOL, OMW.
MVP.
Oh, yeah, wait. MVP is for real, but it's under wraps for now. But I still want you guys to see it, so let's get to it.
Let's go. We are now at MVP. No, it does not stand for most valuable player. It stands for Moto Bologna Passione. And we don't know exactly what they're showcasing behind us, but we think it's going to be one big cruiser and another motorcycle. Varun is doing a full separate video on that, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of the massive Adishwar Auto stall.
Yeah.
It's been a marathon shoot for us, just this stall.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, so many products, and hopefully we can divide this video into chapters so that you guys can have a good understanding of what's happening, where it's happening, and just make things easier for you. But with that, this is pretty much the end of our coverage of the Adishwar Auto stall. If you haven't seen any of our other car or motorcycle videos, please go through our 2023 Auto Expo playlist. I'm sure you will find everything there.
Exactly. There's so much content from the Auto Expo.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. I'm going to sign off, and so is Karan. So, Karan, Varun signing off from Adishwar Auto.
मिलते हैं